Hello students, today we are going to start your next chapter. It's chapter 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. In this video we will cover your 2-3 chapters. First one is A Truly Beautiful Mind and 2 chapters from your movement. Now first we are going to start your chapter 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. Summary of this chapter. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879 in the German city of Ulm. He had a large head and his mother thought that he was a freak. Freak means mad person. He was later a talker and he learned talking later. He would never adjust with his playmates who used to call him Brother Boring. He never talked with anyone. He was very much like a boring personality. So he was named as a Brother Boring. Albert had a special interest in mechanical toys. He loved playing violin. He went to school in Munich. He was good at studies, but he felt suffocated there. He did not like the way the school taught him. His headmaster believed that he would never succeed in his life. His headmaster always scolded him and said that, and he had a belief that Albert Einstein would never succeed in his life. But you all know that Albert was the best personality. Albert wanted to study at a university in Zurich, which the system was where the system was more liberal. Liberal means the freedom. The freedom he wanted, the freedom he liked was the system, the part of the system. He went there and showed more interest in physics and mathematics. He was the champion of physics and mathematics, so he liked those subjects. He met a fellow student, Mileva Marek. She was a girl in the university. Later on, he married Mileva. Albert and Mileva got infatuated with each other, and far from that they were in love with each other, so they married each other. Albert and Mileva had 2 sons, but their marriage failed in 1919. Albert worked as a technical expert in patent office. He continued working secretly on his ideas on relativity. In 1905 he published a paper on the special theory of relativity. In 1915, he published his general theory of relativity and became famous. And you all know Albert Einstein's theory of relativity is very famous. In 1933, Einstein immigrated to the United States. 5 years later, a German scientist in Berlin discovered nuclear fission. The scientists of America were greatly disturbed. Albert wrote a letter to the president to apprise him of the extent of destruction the atom bomb could cause. His letter was taken very seriously by the president. The atomization of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 shocked Albert Einstein. He was disturbed by the destruction and mindless use of the science. He was never in favor of this type of bombing. He wrote a letter to the United Nations and suggested the formations of a world government, but his letter has no effect. He spent his later days in politics advocating for world peace and democracy. He died at the age of 76 in the year 1955. Now we are going to start your next chapter. It's 2 chapters actually. Now we are going to cover 2 chapters from the movement section. Movements. First chapter we have taught already. I have taught you already, The Lost Child. And your second chapter is The Adventures of Toto. It's the story written by Ruskin Bond. Summary of this chapter. The narrator's grandfather loved animals. He had his own private zoo. He bought a baby monkey from a Tonga driver and named it Toto. He wanted Toto to add to his collection for the zoo. The narrator's grandmother did not like pets, so Toto's presence was kept as a secret. Toto was a mischievous monkey. It was kept in a little closet. Closet means a short cupboard is there in which clothes are kept, which opened into the narrator's room. Toto tore off author's school blazer. He peeled off the plaster too. Toto was kept with another animals. There he did not allow them to live peacefully. He was quite mischievous, so he used to tease all the animals residing around him. The grandfather had to collect his pension from Saharanpur. He took Toto with him because he cannot leave Toto at home. He had to pay an extra fare for Toto. Toto was ultimately accepted by the family. He was put into a stable with Nana, the family donkey. Nana was the family donkey. Toto teased Nana. As a result, Toto and Nana never became friends. Once, Toto nearly boiled himself alive. He used to take bath in the warm water. One day, a large kitchen kettle had been left on fire to boil water for tea. Toto entered the kettle. He thought that this water is for his bathing. Soon the water began to boil. Toto raised himself. It was cold outside. He sat down again. He continued hopping up and down till the grandmother came to rescue him. Toto did not give up his mischiefs. He tore things into pieces. He tore up the dresses of the aunt. He broke plates, utensils. One day, he entered the dining room and ran out with the plate of pulao. After finishing the pulao, he threw the plate at the grandmother. Luckily, she was saved, but plate was broken. Toto caused much loss to the family. They could not tolerate him anymore. Hello students, today we are going to start your chapter 9. It's a poem, Imagination. I used to play at pirates and sailed the seven seas, and then I was a cowboy. These simple things did me please. Now here poet Bernard Shaw is saying that he wanted to play at pirates and sail the seven seas. He wanted to sail seven seas, सात समुंदर तैरना चाहते थे. Then I was a cowboy and he was a cowboy. These simple things did me please. And these all things, pirates, cowboy type feeling, he was pleased with all those feelings. I have a vivid imagination. Adventure was always on my mind. And I discovered the joys of reading and escapade the daily grind. Now second paragraph, poet Bernard Shaw has expressed that he had a vivid imagination. Means he had an imagination which of different type of. Normal person don't have this type of imagination. He was full of adventures and wanted to read something joyful. Once I lived with the Eskimos in the land of ice and snow, went hunting and fishing. My fantasy was all aglow. Next paragraph, Bernard Shaw has explained that he wanted to live with Eskimos in the land of ice and snow. You all know about the Eskimos. And he wanted to hunt and do fishing. My fantasy was aglow. That means his fantasy, his imagination was at its peak. I read a book of Julius Verne and went on off to the moon. I was just to take a look, then it was time to return. next paragraph, poet has explained about the book of Julius and Julius Verne, and he wanted to go to the moon. He wanted to go to the moon and have a look of it, and then it was the time to return, and then he was at its return, and he came out of its imagination. I spent time in the forest of Africa with Dr. Livingstone as my guide, then off again to America with Huckleberry Finn I did hide. In next paragraph, poet has explained that he wanted to spend his time in the forest of Africa, African forest, African rainforest. He wanted to spend his most of the time in African rainforest with Dr. Livingstone, and Dr. Livingstone as his guide. Then off again to America. Then again he wanted to go America with Huckleberry Finn. In my world of fantasy and imagination, I performed such wonderful deeds. A hero of all the nations, I was the one that did succeed. And in the last two stanzas, the poet has described his way of imagination. He is a person with illusion. He is a person with adventurous feeling. He wanted to go through the whole world. He wanted to enjoy all the nation's facilities and the topmost personalities that represent that nation. He wanted to meet all those personalities also. And he wanted to do the achievements and the adventurous activity he felt to be there. In my world of fantasy, in his world of fantasy, he wanted to perform the wonderful deeds. A hero of the all nations. He wanted to be the hero of all the nations. And actually, he was succeeded also. Then I grew my childish world at an end. And again, in the last stanza, he is admitting that again he is a child, not more than that. I had become serious. It nearly drove me around the bend. Now he has turned to be serious. I still do like the mischievous. This is the message I am trying to send. Now last two lines express that he has again got around to the same position from where he has started in the first. That's the childish behavior. Still he is a child, and he is representing that one should, whatever age it would be, whatever the situation it would be, one should never ever forget his childhood behavior, his adventurous behavior, as well as the imaginary power he is having within its own conscience. One should always try to do what his adventure and inner conscience and the childhood behavior thinks to be. Okay, class. Now we are going to start your next chapter also. Now we are starting your chapter 10. Now Kanhaiya became a magician. It's a story about magic. Gili Gili Choo. It was just an ordinary day for Kanhaiya. He was roaming the streets looking for something to do. He was bored. None of his friends had come out to play. So he decided to go down to the old harbour and throw stones into the sea. Kanhaiya loved the harbour. Harbour means being beside the sea. He would often go there and sit for the hours looking at the ships. But today, another boy was already sitting in Kanhaiya's favorite spot. Hey, you are sitting in my spot, Kanhaiya said. He always sit here, said Kanhaiya authoritatively, just like that place was reserved for him only. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that it was your spot, the boy said, standing up. Please sit here. He moved to the flat rock further down. Kanhaiya noticed the boy's distinct features as he positioned him comfortably on the rock. He had inky black hair, and his dark eyes were slightly magnified by the round glasses that rested halfway down his nose. As the boy was quizzical smile, Kanhaiya noticed that his right eyebrow was slightly higher than the left one. Thank you, Kanhaiya said, clambering Onto the favorite rock, he gazed out at the sea. Kanhaiya is in the habit of sitting beside the harbor and gazing at the sea with ships. Are you waiting for someone? The boy asked. No, Kanhaiya replied shortly. I didn't feel like talking. So you will just sit here alone? The boy persisted. Yes, Kanhaiya didn't elaborate. He hoped his clipped tone would discourage the boy from asking any more questions. So you will just sit and look at the sea, the boy said. Yes, do you have a problem with that? Kanhaiya glared at the boy, irritated by the questions. Kanhaiya was not in a mood to talk to that boy. So he wanted to sit silent and just see the sea. Now the boy said hurriedly, I was just wondering if you're bored. If you are, I can entertain you with my magic tricks. The boy was a magical boy. He was having the magic tricks. So he wanted to show his magical tricks to the Kanhaiya. Yes, please, show me some magic tricks. Are you a magician? Do you really know magic? Kanhaiya bombarded the boy with questions. I know some tricks, but I need a 50 rupee note for my first trick, the boy said enthusiastically. Now Kanhaiya and that boy was completely involved in the magical talks. And the boy demanded 50 rupees from Kanhaiya for his first trick. Oh, so you are one of those thugs. Go away. I am not giving you any money. Who? Kanhaiya turned his face away from the boy. No. I just need it for my first trick. I'll return it to you. The boy promised. As Kanhaiya looked into the eager eyes of the boy, he somehow felt that the boy wasn't lying. But I only have a 10 rupee note. Will that work? Yes, that will. That will work. Give it to me, please. The boy replied. Kanhaiya handed him the note. The boy then took a bottle, a pair of tongs, and a lighter from his bag. Your note is very dirty. Let me wash it first, the boy said. So he soaked the note in the bottle he had taken out of his bag. He then finished the note from the bottle and held it with the tongs. What are you doing with my note? Kanhaiya shouted. He thought that the boy was thug and he will take his 50 rupees note from him and he will not show him any tricks or any magical things. But again, the boy insisted that he will not take that 50 rupees. At other end, he will return that 50 rupees after the first trick. But Kanhaiya ultimately don't have any 50 rupees note in his pocket. He just only have 10 rupees note and he asked for it. Ultimately, the boy agreed and he started showing his magical tricks. What are you doing with my note? Kanhaiya shouted. The boy didn't react. He said. The note looks clean, but now it's too wet. We need some fire to dry it. The boy clicked open the lighter and set the note on fire. Blue flames rose from the note, dancing higher and higher. Kanhaiya's heart sank. What are you doing? Kanhaiya grasped in disbelief. Oh my God, my note. My mother will so cross me with me. He groaned. I need my note back. After a few moments, the flames subsided and then they were gone. Kanhaiya stared at the tongs. Nothing had happened to the note. It was exactly the same as it had been before. It was engulfed in flames. The boy returned to Kanhaiya. Now the magic trick has started. What type of magic trick was that? It was the magic trick that boy has taken out a bottle from his bag, a lighter as well as a pair of tongs. He dipped the note in the bottle to clean it first and then he wanted to dry the note, so he burned the lighter and the note was on fire. Ultimately it was fire, but when the fire gone out, the note was simply as usual, just as the first time. It was wet, it was neat and clean. What? How? How do you do it? Now Kanhaiya was eager to know that how did this boy did this magical tricks. Kanhaiya stammered in the amazement. This is science. I used a 50% alcohol and 50% water solution and soaked your note in it. The alcohol burns at the at the temperature lower than the water. So the 50% water saved your note from burning. Now he gave a magical excuse like this is completely based on science. What type of science was that? It is 50% alcohol and 50% water was dipped. The note was dipped in that type of solution. So the alcohol burns first. So note was burning. But 50% of water saved the note. Wow, you are amazing. Science is amazing. Please teach me some more tricks. Kanhaiya begged. I will, but I am hungry. I need a boiled egg. The boy said. There is a dhaba over there. Kanhaiya said. You can get food there. They walked across the rocks together to the dhaba. The boy asked for an egg and bought a bottle of milk. He quickly drank all the milk. Kanhaiya waited for him to pay for his food. But when he made no attempt to do so, Kanhaiya reluctantly paid the bill. Aren't you going to eat the egg? Kanhaiya asked. No, I want to put it in the bottle. The boy replied. Kanhaiya looked at him curiously. Can't you see the diameter of the bottle is less than that of the egg? He was ultimately amazed that a bottle, diameter of bottle, the lid was so small and the boiled egg was very big. So how that boy is going to shift this egg into the bottle? You will never fit the egg in the bottle. He was completely sure about it. Alright, we'll see. Now boy was determined that he will fit that egg into the bottle. He burnt a piece of paper and dropped it into the bottle. He burnt a piece of paper and dropped into the bottle. What's with all this burning? Kanhaiya asked. As he saw the bottle settling the egg in the mouth of the bottle with the narrow side pointing downwards. As the flames went out, there was a little pop. An egg seemed to jump slightly on the mouth of the bottle. Then it rested back down, sealing the mouth of the bottle. A moment later, Kanhaiya could not believe his eyes when he saw the egg dropped into the bottle. This was amazing thing. This was a kind of amazing thing which Kanhaiya has never seen before. Here, keep it. The boy handed the bottle with the egg to Kanhaiya, who was staring open mouthed at it. How did you just do that? I'm sure you know the gravity pulls everything downwards. Like he was giving the satisfactory answer to the Kanhaiya. He told him that gravity pulls everything downwards. So the egg did not go in at first because the air pressure inside the bottle, the air pressure outside were the same. But when I dropped the burning paper into the bottle, the burned paper until the oxygen was consumed. But that doesn't explain how the egg was pushed out at first. Combustion hits the air in the bottle, increasing the air pressure. Now, first the bottle was not filled with egg, but combustion was there. Combustion heats the air in the bottle, increasing the air pressure. The boy continued. The heated air pushes the egg out of the way, making it appear to jump on the mouth of the bottle. As the air cools, the egg settles down and seals the mouth of the bottle. Now, there is less air in the bottle than when I started, so it exerts less pressure. When the temperature inside and outside the bottle is the same, there is enough positive pressure outside the bottle to push the eggs inside. It's simple that. The boy laughed. It's not really magic. That's amazing. I can't wait to show these tricks to my friends, Kanhaiya said excitedly. Sure, but you need to make sure that either you do this in your school science lab in the presence of your teacher, or you can do it at home under an elder's supervision. You should never do this type of magical tricks alone because it can be harmful enough. Never ever try it alone as it can be dangerous. You could burn your fingers or hurt yourself. The boy warned. I know, I'm sorry, my science teacher will help. So, she loves when we research stuff ourselves and tell her about it, Kanhaiya said. Kanhaiya was about to leave when the boy handed him a piece of paper. This is a message for you. he said. Kanhaiya unfolded the paper, but it was blank. There's nothing written on it, Kanhaiya said, looking puzzled. Iron it when you go home, the boy replied and left without turning back. As soon as Kanhaiya got home, he ironed the paper. On the wrinkled piece of paper, he could see a message written in a light brown color. I read, "This is nothing but lemon juice. I have fun and be safe." Have fun and be safe. Kanhaiya's quest to learn more started from that day. He asked more questions in his science class and went to great effort to learn the science behind things that appear magical. Now this was your chapter. Question answers of this chapter will be given to you afterwards. Thank you.